Dear learners, welcome to MOOC's online course on Public Financial Administration, and I am Dr. S. Parthiban, Assistant Professor from Department of Politics and Public Administration, University of Madras. In today's lecture, we will be discussing about finance in rural local government. A rural local government refers to a system of decentralized governance at the local level in rural areas. It typically involves local administrative bodies that are responsible for governing and managing affairs within specific rural regions. Financial administration in rural local government in India involves the management, allocation and utilization of funds for the effective functioning and development of local bodies such as panchayats. The financial administration framework is guided by constitutional provisions, statutory laws and administrative guidelines. Functions of rural local bodies. Functional responsibility of local bodies vary from country to country and within a country. Broadly speaking, the functions of local body can be divided into the following major categories. Essential civic functions. The main function of a municipality is to provide and maintain essential civic services. These include waste collection, street lighting, water supply, fire protection, primary health services. Decision making rests with the local bodies for these services. Regulatory functions. These functions pertain to regulation of industry, trade and construction activities. Local bodies issue licenses, permits and levy fees of various kinds and also impose fines for violation of rules and regulations. Charges for regulatory functions should be so fixed as to cover at least the cost of administration and surveillance. If these services are subsidized, it would strain on resources. Agency functions. These are functions which are funded out of state revenues by specific transfers. Example, protection of environment. Evolution. The evolution of finance in local government in India has been marked by various reforms and changes over the years. Below is an overview of the key phases in the evolution of finance in local government in India. Pre-independence era. Before India gained independence in 1947, local governance was primarily under the control of local landlords and princely states. Local bodies had limited financial autonomy and their revenue sources were often derived from local taxes and fees. Post-independence period, that is from 1950 to 1990s. After independence, the Constitution of India recognized the significance of local self-government and included provisions related to local governance in the directive principles of state policy, which is mentioned in Article 40 of Constitution of India. The first and second 5-year plans emphasized the need for decentralized planning and development at the grassroots levels. Post-independence period, local bodies were given responsibilities related to sanitation, health, education and other local services. The main sources of revenue for local bodies was local taxes, user charges and grants from state governments. In the year 1957, the Government of India had constituted Balwant Rai Mehta Committee in order to study the functioning of Community Development Program, which was introduced in the year 1952. The Balwant Rai Mehta Committee recommended a 3-tier Panchayat Raj system to strengthen local governance. It emphasized the need for financial resources to be transferred to local bodies to enable them to carry out their functions effectively. 73rd and 74th Constitutional Amendment Act implemented in the year 1992. These amendments provided a constitutional status to panchayats and municipalities, ensuring greater decentralization of powers and functions. The amendments mandated the creation of state finance commissions to recommend principles for sharing state revenues with local bodies. They aim to strengthen local self-governance and enhance financial resources for local development. Introduction of state finance commissions from the year 1992 onwards. Many states established state finance commissions to recommend the distribution of resources between the state government and local bodies. The commissions focused on determining the share of taxes, grants and other financial resources for local governments. In the 12th Finance Commission, that is from the year 2005 to 2010, made recommendations to strengthen Panchayat Raj institutions and urban local bodies. It proposed grants for capacity building, development projects and the creation of State Finance Commission in each state. The 14th Finance Commission was from the year 2015 to 2020, and it recommended a significant increase in the share of states in the divisible pool of central taxes, providing more resources to state governments. This increased the united funds available to states, some of which were expected to be developed to local bodies. Goods and services tax, which is popularly called as GST, and it was implemented in the year 2017. The introduction of GST had implications for local government finances as it impacted the revenue sharing mechanism between the center and the states. Local bodies had to adapt to the new tax regime and explore alternative revenue sources. Current scenario: currently local governments in India receive funds through devolutions, grants, local taxes and user charges. Efforts continue to enhance the financial capacity of local bodies and improve financial management through technology and capacity building initiatives. The evolution of finance in local government in India reflects a gradual shift toward decentralization and greater financial autonomy for local bodies, aimed at fostering local development and grassroots governance. Ongoing reforms and initiatives continue to shape the financial landscape of local governments in the country. Now let us discuss about the constitutional provisions of local government. In Article 243H, powers to impose taxes by and funds of the panchayats. It also grants panchayat to levy taxes, duties, tolls and specifies the allocation of funds between the state government and the panchayats. Under Article 243I, Constitution of Finance Commission to review financial positions. It mandates the state government to review the financial position of panchayats and make recommendations. Through Article 243J, it provides for the audit of accounts of panchayats. Now let us discuss about the sources of revenue of rural local government. The rural local governments in India, referred to as panchayats, generate revenue through various tax and non-tax sources to fund local development projects, infrastructure and essential services. Here's an overview of tax or non-tax revenue sources for rural panchayats in India. Broadly, there are two categories under the revenue sources. One is internal and then other one is external, and within internal there are tax and non-tax, and within external there are assigned revenue and grants and loans. Let us have a detailed explanation of these points. Tax revenue. Property tax. Panchayats levy property tax on the value of properties within their jurisdiction, though the implementation of property tax in rural areas might vary. Land revenue. In some states, panchayats may collect revenue from agricultural land, often known as land revenue or agricultural cess. Professional tax. Panchayats can impose a tax on the income earned by professionals operating within their jurisdiction. Local sales tax. Some panchayats may have the authority to collect a local sales tax on goods and services sold within the local area. Entry tax. Panchayats may impose taxes on vehicles entering the jurisdiction or on goods being brought into the area. Tax revenue. Vehicle tax. Taxes are imposed on vehicles and panchayats may collect revenue through vehicle entry taxes and related charges. Fees for issuing licenses. Fees are collected for issuing various licenses such as trade licenses for businesses operating within the panchayat limits. Now let's discuss about the non-tax revenue. There are many charges and services. First one is the user charges. Panchayats collect charges for various services provided to the public, including water supply, sanitation and community facilities. Fees for services. Charges are collected for services such as issuing birth and death certificates, marriage registrations and other administrative services. Agricultural and forest incomes. Panchayats in rural areas may generate revenue from agricultural activities and forests under their jurisdictions. Grants and transfers. Panchayats receive grants and financial assistance from higher levels of government such as the state and central governments for specific rural development projects. Donations and contributions. Under this head, panchayats may receive donations and contributions from individuals, local businesses and organizations for specific projects or community initiatives. Rent and leases. Panchayats may generate revenue by leasing or renting out community owned properties and assets. Interests and dividends. Income is earned through interest on investments and dividends from financial assets. Market fees. In areas with agricultural markets, panchayats may collect fees from the sale of agricultural produce. It's important to note that the revenue generating capacity of panchayats can vary between states and the specific revenue sources may be subject to state specific laws and regulations. The financial autonomy and capacity of panchayats are often influenced by the policies and frameworks established by the respective state governments. Now let's discuss about the challenges faced by local governments relating to financial aspects. Panchayats face several challenges that impact their effective functioning and the delivery of services. These challenges are diverse and can vary across states and regions. Here are some common challenges faced by rural local governments in the Indian context. First, to start with, financial constraints. Limited revenue sources is seen as a very serious financial constraint, where which panchayats often rely on a limited set of revenue sources and their own revenue generation capacity may be insufficient to meet the local development needs. Administrative capacity. Under the challenges in administrative capacities, limited human resources can be seen as a serious challenge in contemporary India. Many panchayats face a shortage of skilled and trained personnel, affecting their administrative capacity to plan and implement projects effectively. Political interference. Political pressures can be seen as a very serious challenge in contemporary Indian local government. Panchayats may experience interference from local politicians, impacting decision making processes and hindering the autonomous functioning of the local government. Inadequate infrastructure is a serious challenge in India. Rural areas may lack basic infrastructure such as roads, electricity and sanitation facilities, hindering the overall development of the region. Capacity building, very serious challenge in Indian local government. Lack of training. Panchayat members and staff often lack the necessary training, and capacity building opportunities to understand their roles and responsibilities effectively. Social and economic disparities are also a serious challenge in local government in India. Wide socio-economic disparities in rural areas often face significant socio-economic disparities, making it challenging for panchayats to address the diverse needs of the population. Gender disparity is a growing challenge in India right from its independence. Despite reservation for women in panchayat elections, the actual participation of women in decision making processes and leadership roles may still be limited. Technological challenges are again a serious constraint in Indian local government. Panchayats may face challenges in adopting and utilizing technology for efficient governance, communication, and service delivery. There are lots of challenges relating to land related issues in India. Land fragmentation in rural areas can complicate development projects and planning, making it difficult to implement initiatives like irrigation and agricultural reforms. Another serious challenge in local government is natural resource management. Panchayats often grapple with issues related to sustainable natural resource management, including water scarcity, deforestation, and soil erosion. These are serious environmental challenges faced by local governments in India. Public awareness and participation are the need of the hour. Limited public awareness and participation in local governance processes can hinder the effectiveness of panchayats. Addressing these challenges requires concerted efforts from multiple stakeholders, including the central and state governments, local communities, non-governmental organizations, and other development partners. Strengthening the institutional capacity of panchayats, promoting community participation, and ensuring adequate financial resources are critical aspects of overcoming these challenges in the context of rural local governance in India. Now, let us discuss about the state finance commissions and the role played by it in India. The State Finance Commission plays a pivotal role in shaping the financial landscape of rural local governance by recommending principles for resource distribution, determining grants in aid, and facilitating the assignment of revenue resources to empower rural local bodies. This process enhances the financial autonomy and effectiveness of local governance in addressing the unique needs of rural communities. Here's how the State Finance Commission is typically involved in rural local governance. Relating to resource distribution, one of the primary functions of the State Finance Commission is to recommend the principles for the distribution of financial resources between the state government and rural local bodies. This includes the distribution of the net proceeds of taxes, duties, tolls, and fees levied by the state. The State Finance Commission reviews the financial position of the state and the local bodies, taking into consideration factors like population, area, revenue, and other relevant criteria. Based on this assessment, it recommends a formula for the distribution of funds. Grants in aid. The State Finance Commission determines the grants in aid to be provided to the rural local bodies from the state's consolidated fund. These grants are essential for supporting the financial needs of the local bodies in carrying out their functions and implementing development programs. The grants may be provided for specific purposes or as united funds, allowing local bodies flexibility in utilizing the funds based on their priorities. Assignment of revenue resources. The State Finance Commissions also recommends the taxes, duties, tolls and fees that may be assigned to the rural local bodies. This involves specifying the revenue sources that can be locally administered by the rural areas to generate income for their developmental activities. The assignment of revenue resources empowers local bodies by giving them the authority to raise revenue locally, reducing dependence on state governments and also grants from states. Financial empowerment of rural local bodies. By providing a fair and transparent mechanism for the distribution of financial resources, the State Finance Commissions contributes to the financial empowerment of rural local bodies. This empowerment is crucial for ensuring that local bodies have the financial capacity to plan and implement development projects, address local needs and improve overall governance at the grassroots level. In summary, finance in rural local government in India involves a combination of grants and aid, revenue sharing and locally generated revenue. The State Finance Commission plays a crucial role in determining the financial resources available to rural local bodies, contributing to their financial autonomy and capacity for local development. The overall aim is to strengthen grassroots governance and address the unique needs of rural communities. And now let us look at the way forward. So, we have seen lots of constraints faced by the local government. There are lots of recommendations based by various studies. The way forward in the finance of rural local government in India involves a combination of policy measures, institutional strengthening and community engagement to enhance financial sustainability and local development. Here are some key strategies. Under resource mobilization, explore innovative ways of resource mobilization for rural local bodies, including exploring alternative revenue sources, encouraging public-private partnerships and leveraging community contributions. Under fiscal decentralization, advocate for further fiscal decentralization to empower rural local bodies with more financial autonomy. This could involve a review of tax sharing mechanisms, greater flexibility in fund utilization and increased revenue generating powers. Under financial inclusion, promote financial inclusion initiatives in rural areas to ensure that local bodies have access to banking services and can efficiently manage their finances. This includes encouraging the use of digital financial tools and banking services. Under community participation, encourage active community participation in the financial decision making processes of local bodies. This involves raising awareness, conducting participatory budgeting exercises and involving citizens in the planning and implementation of local development projects. Under capacity building, invest in training programs and capacity building initiatives for local government officials and staff to enhance their financial management skills. This includes budgeting, financial reporting and compliance with financial procedures. Under performance based grants, introduce performance based grants to incentivize efficient financial management and the successful implementation of development projects. This can encourage local bodies to achieve specific targets and outcomes. Under monitoring and evaluation, strengthening monitoring and evaluation mechanisms to ensure effective utilization of funds. Regular audits and assessments can help identify areas for improvement and prevent mismanagement of finances. And the use of technology. Embrace technology for financial management, including the use of digital platforms, e-governance solutions, and information systems. This can streamline financial processes, improve transparency, and facilitate efficient fund management. Transparent financial reporting. Enhance transparency in financial reporting by ensuring that local bodies regularly publish financial statements and reports. This promotes accountability and allows citizens to track how funds are utilized. Under policy advocacy, advocate for policy reforms that support the financial sustainability of rural local bodies. Engage with policy makers to address challenges and promote a conducive environment for effective financial management at the local level. By focusing on these strategies, there can be a positive transformation in the finance of rural local governments in India, leading to improved service delivery, sustainable development, and strengthened local government. Dear listeners, let's see in the next session. Thank you.